The finale of Andor was incredible and went out in style, even having a marching band. And you have to believe I was geeking out for that. I'm gonna give you my take on that scene and everything else about the finale of this show. This is Star Wars Music Analysis. Do it. The title music slowly comes into focus this time, actually foreshadowing the sounds that we'll hear later with the marching band. And it's funny because there's no way we would have known this while watching it, but on second viewing, it really does sound like a high school marching band playing in the bleachers. What I've been calling Clea's theme is still mixed into this opening sequence as well, but I think by now it's safe to say that this is more than a theme for Clea. This is actually the theme of the rebellion that Bertel is using throughout the series for all of the characters of that group. We'll see why as this episode continues. As the Lambda-class Imperial shuttle sets down, the all-too-familiar Imperial music plays. The actual theme comes in very faintly a few times and answers itself, but the bass descending by the major third always makes this clear to recognize. But then it comes in more clearly as Dedra exits the shuttle for Ferrix. The quick cutoff on the dominant chord leaves us in suspense of what will come next. The high-pitched string drone perfectly reminds us of the torture that Bix has been going through as well with the mind probe. Bertel bends the pitch here as well to help give us that unnerved feeling while also making it very irritating, just like something that could be used as a torture device. The descending major third returns again to remind us that the camera and the ISB are still in charge. While Brasso and Zanwan talk, we actually hear a very faint recurrence of the music from the flashback scenes of the early episodes. I think this is a great connection as we see Cassian wanting to return to a former home. Ferrix represents the second home that Cassian has had and abandoned, just like Kenari when he left his sister. But this time, he's going to make sure to not make the same mistakes, and he's going to return to his home and to Marva. As Cinta follows Dedra through the alleyways, short motifs from the Rebellion theme play. These little turns, they're extremely hidden in everything else, but if you listen closely, they're here. Just like Cinta hiding in the shadows and behind corners as a rebel operative. As Zanwan and Nurchi speak in the cantina, we can hear quiet, diegetic music in the background. It sounds similar to a steel drum along with a tambourine and maybe a harp as well. I was hoping to see some actual performers here, but we never saw anyone actually performing. But that will easily be made up for later. In either case, it was relieving to not hear the Niamos theme here. The flashback music comes back again as Willman continues to construct this bomb. I see this as a connection to Andor losing his parents at a very young age as well, and having to cope with that. The flashbacks are always of a tribe of young children who all lost their parents in a mining accident, and now need to cope with life on their own. The same has become true for Willman, who now chooses to avenge his father's death. The music connects Willman and his struggles directly to Andor, especially as he leaves Ferrix, his home, later in the episode. Mon Mothma in the next scene waits for Perrin in the car, terrified of what's to come next. We hear EDM music in the background signaling that she's outside of a party, and as the door opens, the music becomes more distinct. I'm coming to terms with the fact that the elites of the Star Wars galaxy do in fact actually listen to dance beats at their gatherings, and I take back my criticisms from the earlier breakdown where Niamos kept playing, since this cue is different music, adding to the depth of the galaxy's music and culture. As Mon and Perrin argue, her theme comes in at the end of the scene. It's slightly more victorious now as she puts her own plans into action. As Cassian sneaks through the streets of Ferrix, the second part of his theme plays. It's the part that I mentioned in my theme breakdown sneaks as well, the part that simply descends in half steps. After that, just the chords come through. The theme, the individual isn't here right now, just the story, as Andor approaches a defining moment of his own story. As Cassian listens to Nemik's manifesto, the strings slowly build. We eventually begin to hear the same music that will come up later during Marva's funeral. But we don't know that yet. For now, it's just beautiful but depressing music that's slowly growing. Bretel chooses to use the natural minor mode for much of this piece, and so it's able to loop very effectively while staying very gentle. The music then slowly changes to Andor'S theme, already showing the similarities and connections between these two pieces. As Deidre and the other Imperials plan for the funeral, the harmonic progression of their theme comes in, similar to how Cassian's chords played before. Everyone is building up to a greater moment, a pivotal moment where individuals blend into the greater mold. But listen to the music as the stormtroopers pass Vel. It begins with the Imperial descending major third, but then as we see Vel, the ascending rebel motif comes in to override it. I love how well Bretel can mix up different motifs as storylines merge and intersect, but the descending third returns again as we shift back to the ISB headquarters on Coruscant. The progression continues to play in the background as the agents all discuss Perrin's presumed gambling and later the killing of Krieger and his men. A long gap without any music is then interrupted by the anvil, apparently playing much earlier in the day than it ever should have. The Time Grappler, that's his name by the way, plays single notes this time, silencing everyone around. This becomes the signal for Marva's funeral to begin. When we then jump to the brass players warming up, and what I loved about this part of the episode is how real they made it sound. We don't just hear the performers playing the music, we also get to hear them warming up, something most directors would completely overlook as part of the sounds before a parade. And I'm pretty sure these are the actual performers because in the second shot, the French horn player is blowing into just the mouthpiece, which is not something others would know to even do during warming up. After a quick scene away, we also jump to this group of flute players warming up, and I actually had to laugh a little bit when I saw all of this. I mean, it's cool because we got new instruments, but I wish they had gone a little further to make these not so familiar. I mean, I get it, I do. There has to be some level of familiarity in order to get the sounds that these instruments are getting. It only makes sense for them to be familiar to the instruments we know those sounds to be connected to. But it did sort of take me out of the moment when I saw a French horn just with a hexagonal bell, or the same thing with this bugle. For the flutes, they just braced together a bunch of different woodwinds. The first one is a flute that they attached a small bell from maybe a clarinet, but then it's also attached to this flute head joint and other pieces. Other times, it looks like they're just blowing into the side of clarinets or English horns. I hope to do a full video later on of all these instruments if we get a visual guide to this show or episode in the future. But this was still really cool, and I didn't let this ruin for me an otherwise incredible music scene in Star Wars. The scene continues with the brass completing their tuning, and from the first note I knew I was going to appreciate this. Just listen to how out of tune that first entrance is before it falls into the correct pitch. This would be next to impossible to replicate for a professional to do, and leads me to believe that they hired, in fact, an amateur group of musicians for this. I love this, and it got me really excited because on a planet like Ferrix, these wouldn't be professional musicians. I used to play in these kinds of marching bands as a brass player when I lived in New York City. Many of the Latino churches downtown would hire brass players to play for their parades, and we wouldn't meet each other until 5 minutes before the parade started when we got the actual music. They are going to play out of tune and not quite together. The pitches as they march become wobbly as well. This is normally when you get something this slow to march to. As you march, your body moves, and it's difficult to maintain a steady stream of air, even for a seasoned professional. These little details just made this scene so real for me. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that this is Andor's theme or the Rebellion theme from the opening title music, but I couldn't find any clear connections to that just yet. There are a couple places later where Andor's harmonic progression could fit into it though, but this is a completely new track. The flutes and the brass start in two different parts of Ferrix and then slowly merge on one another, and it made me wonder how they were able to coordinate playing together so well. As they stop, the music changes and this little theme seems to stir something special in both Cassian and Bix. And this seems to be a variation of some sort on the main theme of the show, and I'm guessing that this is also some sort of hymn that is sung to children on Ferrix. Both this theme and Andor's theme move up by step, as if in a major scale, but really beginning on the third scale degree of a minor scale, giving us this bittersweet, beautiful, yet sad feeling. They also both move up a fifth higher than where they began before descending. The marching band ends this section on a half cadence unresolved, leaving us in suspense as the two forces eye each other up. The music then moves much quicker as they move forward towards the Imperial forces. The flutes pulsing gives this reoccurrence of the music a lot more energy this time before we go into a new track. The flutes continue to pulse as the chord stays still now, like the procession. Meanwhile, the crowd chants "Stone and Sky" over and over. This sound reminded me a lot of the minimalist music of John Adams, but quickly stops before Marva's final words echo through the streets of Ferrix.
Please, if I can see you.
As Marva speaks, the music slowly builds into a progression of Andor's theme. It becomes more and more apparent with each recurrence, signifying the people of Ferrix waking up, the spark that she spoke of being lit, and the fire it starts growing. The theme, that heroic theme, begins to show itself as well. As all chaos begins to unfold though, the music quickly changes into the underlying rumblings. The time grappler kicks it up again with more chimes, calling everyone in Ferrix to the fight. The music continues into the explosions that stop everything momentarily. But as people get back up, the situation and the music only worsen, becoming more desperate. The low brass take up the rebellion theme. It's not glorious or wonderful yet, but it does have power, and that power is slowly growing as the rebellion theme moves into the higher brass. But then this wobbly and disoriented version of the Imperial theme comes in, displaying their ability to take back control of a situation pretty easily once the blasters start firing. As Cassian enters this scene later, his theme returns, reaffirming his identity with them. But as the group of now rebels take off, the rebel theme plays. We then immediately jump to Mon Mothma, Perrin, Lita, and Davos and his family for their meeting, and the rebellion theme continues to play, and I wonder how many people went, "Oh yeah, that's happening too." The rebellion theme reminds us that this planned marriage is for the rebellion still. While it's depressing, it's for the greater good, and so we'll learn to accept it. Man, this show just kicked on so many levels for me. The music did exactly what it should throughout. Did it sound like Star Wars? No. But it served the show perfectly, and for that, I couldn't have asked for it to sound any other way. Bertel did the unthinkable and made Star Wars sound like something else with such precision and skill that we aren't bothered by the moments that sound nothing like John Williams. Star Wars needed this in order to be able to move forward, and I hope Lucasfilm sees how important the implementation of the correct composers makes all the difference for the franchise to survive. But let me know what you think. Tell me in the comments below, and let me know if I've missed anything. And before you go, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of a galaxy far, far away. And as always, may the be with you.